I'm standing in front of what has become the latest symbol of insanity in Canada's housing system. A $5 million probable teardown in the city of Vancouver, recently made famous on Twitter by a Conservative Party leadership candidate. It's great to see that housing has become a go-to issue of politicians of all party stripes. And the policy proposals of many parties would make a difference if now acted upon. And it's even more important that we see multiple parties at last acknowledge the generational unfairness that is at the heart of our housing affordability crisis.
One of the things that I am the most concerned about is the intergenerational injustice.
We are finally seeing politicians acknowledge what Jen Squeeze has been saying for over a decade, that spiraling housing prices are eroding housing affordability for many younger people and newcomers of any age, while at the same time driving wealth windfalls for many residents, often older Canadians who got into the housing market earlier. To restore housing affordability, we have to act on both sides of the problem. And the home behind me can show us a lot about what we need to do. It's true, replacing single detached homes like this with multifamily homes is a good idea, especially if many of those new units come in as affordable rentals or co-ops. It's also true that big city government gatekeepers are part of the problem if their zoning prevents adding the density that we need to supply in our neighborhoods. But we also need governments to influence new housing so that new units have enough bedrooms for families with kids, and so that the units come in at a price that is in reach for what locals earn. Let's be honest, this $5 million price tag reveals why so many Canadians tolerate our dysfunctional housing system. And I could be in front of homes in provinces across this country, especially now in Ontario, where they have most lost control over housing prices in recent years. Because the reality is there are two sides to every for sale sign. On one side, you have generations of younger Canadians locked out of housing by relentless price increases. On the other side, those relentless price increases make existing homeowners wealthier, reaping windfalls that they couldn't otherwise get at their day job. Your Twitter feed invites you to imagine the working class family that bought this home decades ago, the waitress and the truck driver. Jen Squeeze invites you to imagine the same people, now grandparents. How would they feel about making millions off their purchase of a modest home? Would they go book a cruise or buy a hot tub?
Hon, what do you say? Indoor or outdoor hot tub?
Why not both?
Or would they join Jen Squeeze in critiquing that their wealth windfalls come at the expense of their kids' and grandchildren's generation's ability to afford a home that meets their needs? The hard truth is that many everyday Canadian homeowners bank on high and rising home prices as a tax-sheltered path to acquire wealth. That's why politicians would prefer to point to corporate investors, foreign investors, and big city government gatekeepers.
Foreign investors, wealthy investors, the rich developers.
These gatekeepers.
It's too politically risky to point out that everyday Canadian households also benefit from high and rising home prices and thereby contribute unintentionally to eroding affordability. Jen Squeeze is in the business of speaking hard truths. Not platitudes, not scapegoats. And the hard truth is that to restore affordability for all, we need home prices to minimally stall or even fall so that earnings have a chance to catch up. We need our politicians to be brave enough to put an end to housing wealth windfalls. Because the dark side of that wealth windfall is eroding affordability, not just for the poor, the working class, or immigrants, but for entire generations of younger Canadians and into the future. The good news is that recent polling tells us 70% of Canadians support this idea. That is a lot of political cover for politicians to act bravely. So now let's make the most of it. The next time a politician tries to razzle-dazzle you with talk of accelerator funds or rent-to-own schemes or firing government gatekeepers to build new housing, say, that's great, but really ask them the more important question. Are they willing to publicly commit to the idea that home prices should stall, maybe fall so that earnings have a chance to catch up? If their answer is no, take your vote elsewhere. If you believe in the Canadian dream and want to show allegiance to it, that a good home should be in reach for what hard work can earn.